Welcome to the Daily AI News Digest for Thursday, August 27th, 2026. This broadcast is sponsored by bestai.org. I'm your host, and today we're cutting through the noise to look at the cold market realities and data-driven shifts currently defining the artificial intelligence sector. Let's look at today's agenda. Our briefing today covers 4 key areas. First, we'll cover the biggest moves in infrastructure. Second, product and model realities, analyzing concrete benchmark data. Third, regulation and policy signals impacting labor and IP. And fourth, the analyst's take, where we'll examine a fundamental shift in enterprise AI economics. We're starting off with the biggest moves today, specifically focusing on infrastructure and capital expenditure. The standout strategic move in the infrastructure space today comes from AM Intelligence. This is the AI infrastructure platform established by the promoters of Greenco Group, and they've just committed a massive $8 billion in capital expenditure to build out their global compute capacity.
Let's break down exactly what that $8 billion is buying. AM Intelligence has ordered roughly 9,000 of Nvidia's next-generation Vera Rubin GPUs. These will be deployed efficiently using NVL72 rack-scale systems. The initial 200 megawatts will come online in Hyderabad by the first quarter of 2027, but the end goal here is a highly ambitious 1 gigawatt of total global capacity, targeting expansion into the US, Finland, and Malaysia. To put that massive footprint into perspective, they expect to deliver 450 exaflops of inference compute. They'll be using Nvidia's NVFP4 low-precision format, which is a standard specifically optimized for running agentic AI workloads at scale.
Next up, product and model realities. We're looking closely at custom silicon and new updates in video generation. OpenAI has just published concrete benchmark data for Jalapeño. That's their first custom inference ASIC. Evaluated on the public InferenceX suite, Jalapeño operates at a strict 550-watt power draw, all while hitting 13.4 petaflops of MXFP4 compute. Now, compare that directly to Nvidia's Blackwell architecture, which demands anywhere from 900 to 1150 watts. The core takeaway from these numbers, when running models like DeepSeek R1, OpenAI's custom silicon is achieving roughly 1.5 to 1.9 times higher peak throughput per watt than Nvidia's current benchmark configurations. The production realities of this chip are just as notable. By utilizing their own generative AI engineering models, OpenAI, working closely with Broadcom, managed to compress the design-to-tape-out timeline to a remarkably fast 16 months. The chip is built on TSMC's N3P process, and the benchmarks show it cutting end-to-end latency by up to 3.6 times. With low-volume data center deployments expected by late 2026, this marks a definitive strategic move by OpenAI to maneuver away from single-vendor hardware margins. Moving over to software, Alibaba released the specifications for its WAN 3.0 video generation model, which just entered public beta. The native generation duration has actually doubled to 30 seconds, though you'll note the max resolution is currently capped at 1080p. That's a slight step down from version 2.7. But the most critical architectural update here involves the input modalities. WAN 3.0 can now process PDFs, spreadsheets, and slide decks to directly generate video. That's a very clear pivot toward enterprise utility. And despite what you might be hearing online, WAN 3.0 remains strictly closed-weight and API exclusive. It's maintaining its proprietary status. Let's transition to regulation and policy signals, tracking labor disruption and intellectual property frameworks.
We received a notable macroeconomic warning today from Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. In a newly published essay, Gates argues that global governments are currently unprepared for the rapid societal disruption caused by artificial intelligence. He's actively advocating for structural policy interventions. Specifically, he states that governments must legally establish human reserve job zones to safeguard structural employment. He also floated the concept of taxing AI systems at rates comparable to human employees as a mechanism to stabilize labor markets.
In intellectual property news, ByteDance and the Motion Picture Association have formalized a memorandum of understanding regarding generative AI copyright safeguards. This agreement directly addresses the ongoing deployment of ByteDance's C-Dance video generator and C-Dream image generator, both of which are deeply integrated into platforms like TikTok and CapCut. This effectively resolves a dispute that kicked off back in February with a cease and desist letter from the MPA over the unauthorized generation of recognizable film characters. It is crucial to be clear on the strict legal boundaries of this framework. The MOU establishes a firm commitment to ongoing technical guardrails, which ByteDance states are already active in CDance 2.5 and CDream 5.0 Pro, and ensures continued collaboration as these models evolve. But here's what it doesn't do. It does not establish a blanket license for ByteDance users to utilize Hollywood franchises or characters. Furthermore, it absolutely does not grant automatic permission to use actor or celebrity likenesses. At its core, this is a technical compliance agreement, not a commercial licensing deal.
Finally, we arrive at the analyst take. Today, we're examining the end of unconstrained spend.
To really understand the current market correction we're seeing, we need to define a practice that categorized the enterprise AI boom from 2023 into early 2024. The term is tokenomicsing. This refers to the corporate practice of continuously increasing AI spending and token consumption, operating under the assumption that higher usage automatically translates to higher value creation. Companies were providing unconstrained API access to their employees, assuming sheer volume would automatically yield productivity.
Uber Technologies provides the clearest case study of exactly why this model failed. By April of this year, Uber had completely exhausted its entire 2-year AI coding budget, which was allocated for Anthropic's Claude Code. This happened because the company aggressively incentivized its software engineers through gamified internal usage leaderboards. When they hit this severe budget overrun, Uber CTO Praveen Nepali-Nagala officially declared the end of the token maxing era. He pivoted the company's approach completely, treating AI cost management as a strict technical optimization challenge rather than an endless financial budget. This meant implementing aggressive prompt caching and restructuring workflows into specialized agentic pods.
The data following Uber's optimization offers a very clear path forward for enterprise AI. By enforcing strict engineering discipline, Uber successfully quadrupled employee adoption of these frontier tools, while at the same time lowering the total cost per token. But the most important takeaway here, leadership noted that under the previous unconstrained model, there is simply no statistically verifiable link between high token consumption and successfully shipped product features. Across the industry, the focus has firmly shifted away from raw usage metrics and toward verifiable output.
The data paints a very clear picture today. The blank check era for enterprise AI procurement has concluded. The market is now demanding measurable efficiency and concrete returns on investment rather than speculative usage. But as these corporate budgets tighten across the board, the question we have to ask is, which high-flying AI darling will be the first to crash into this new wall of corporate austerity? That concludes our analysis for today. Thank you for joining this explainer of the day's market realities. This broadcast has been sponsored by bestai.org. Make sure you visit them for further industry data, and we will continue to monitor these developments.